Good afternoon, traders. This is Tony D from the Easymarkets dealing room in Sydney. An update for you today, the big event. We've got the FOMC finally at our door. Widely expected to be a raise, but the US dollar is enjoying nice gains ahead of this. You can see the dollar index grinding higher, the euro dollar under a little bit of pressure, profit taking from the recent rally, and the pound struggling to hold its gains after a very big breakthrough in both not just the decent data from the wages side of things, but also from May passing her vote on Brexit negotiations, basically striking down a rebellion there that she had regarding the hard Brexit and the soft Brexit members of her party who wanted to be involved in the decision-making process as well, get a final vote on. She's placated them with a little less of a final vote, but still something threw them a bone. But really what this does is move things forward and allow the Brexit negotiations to potentially make some progress now. There's a big EU summit later in the month where there's going to be much discussion on the Brexit negotiations so far, and there's a blueprint from the UK going to be released after that EU summit for the UK's plan. But it also just generally, the ability for May to make serious decisions now is now increased. Now there is still the Northern Ireland border issue, and that hasn't been resolved just yet. But traders in general, you can see the price action last night after that result came out. We're pretty impressed, and apart from the US dollar strength, and the pound is actually outperforming most pairs on most crosses. So if you're looking at, say, the pound yen, good sentiment, good sort of arbiter of how the pound's going, or if you're looking at euro pound, it's starting to grind a little lower as well. Finding a little bit of a top here at the 88 level. So the pound is in a good position, but really the most important thing for the next 24 hours is the Fed and how that is placated. I mean, you got the Fed and then the ECB double. ECB, you could argue, could be more important in terms of movement, but the first thing that you really have to get past before we talk about the ECB is the Fed. And the Fed, we can talk about the ECB tomorrow. The Fed itself is expected to raise rates, but what's really important is how they, the questions and that Powell's going to have regarding how they're going to respond to the recent increase in both inflation and in growth and the drop in unemployment. This is the sort of numbers that the US is putting out really suggest that not only will they raise rates back to the normal levels, but also increase them into contractionary to sort of allow the slow down the market, slow down the economy. But what we've seen from the Fed is that they're going to be patient regarding inflation overshooting and cautious to raise rates past what is currently priced in by the Fed members. And so that would really allow the US dollar to perhaps give back some of those gains if there's a bit of a buy the rumor sell effect going on here, if that is confirmed again tonight in those Q&A. If he opens the door to further rate hikes in 2019 past what the market is pricing in, that's where the US dollar can gain a bid and potentially have a next leg of higher on most pairs. But that is a really big question, and from analyzing the Fed's commentary for the last few years, they're much more likely to err on the side of caution than open the Pandora's box of raising rates past the normal levels that they've currently assigned with their dot plots. So we'll see. It's going to be a very interesting Fed meeting. Most likely it's going to be as expected with a dovish hike. But if there is any sort of slight hint of hawkishness, the market could really use that to take the US dollar, which is right at some big levels now, especially against the euro. That 117.20 level, if that was to break tonight, could be damaging for the technical structure and damaging for the hopes and dreams here of the euro bulls, which had pinned most of the trade basically on the lack of Italian issues, or the subsiding of the Italian issues, and also the ECB allowing the euro to rally. But a strong US dollar is going to make that much harder, and probably we're going to, if that is the case, going to have to look at buying the euro against something else. There's many pairs to buy the euro against, but the ones which you really want to be looking to buy the euro is potentially the yen, and the Swiss. Okay, so those are the ones which, in a risk-on environment, have fell dramatically because of the they've fallen dramatically because of the Italian issues. And if those issues go away and stocks remain strong, then the top side is looking for potentially higher here. Okay, so this is the resumption of that. Well, both the US dollar and the euro are strong. You do want to play the story somehow. So euro Swiss or euro yen both have room here on the rebound. Euro yen's got a little bit of resistance here though at the 130 level. It'd be good to close above that if you really want to make progress back towards that 135. But both are looking quite nice. Alright guys, Aussie dollar is on the back pedal here with that US dollar strength. I mean, there's a lot of just Aussie dollar movements is US dollar strength or weakness. So don't really get too carried away with setups on the Aussie dollar. It really is just a reflection right now of US dollar strength. If the US dollar weakens tonight, then the Aussie will go up. There's no real preference here for the Aussie. Apart from that, it's really just the kicking ball now of the US dollar, and that explains 90% of the movement day to day. Alright, if you want to have a chat about what's going on in the market, look at some of those crosses with me in deeper, come through on this detail on the contact numbers below. If you're not a member of the Easymarkets dealing room, please sign up with the link below, and you'll get assigned a deal like myself in the Sydney office to assist you.